Hey everyone, you're tuned into InfoQuench with Jeff.
And Amy. Join us as we talk about anything.
And everything.
All the stuff that makes life interesting.
So let's get to it. Hey everybody, you're listening to InfoQuench with Jeff.
And Amy.
In this podcast, we're going to be talking about being happy.
Yes, secrets to a happier life.
Secrets to a happier life.
Let me talk about what inspired this podcast. We went on a marathon hike this weekend. It wasn't planned to be a marathon hike,
actually. It was
actually.
not planned that way. No, it was not.
It was just me following a trail map incorrectly and missing a cutoff, and ended up being a 2-hour hike.
Yes.
And our 7-year-old son, Hux, did really, really well, despite a very, very long hike. But it was beautiful. It was fall.
It wasn't very well, marked, though. There was a point where the trails, went in many different directions.
Two paths diverged in the woods.
2 paths diverged in the wood.
And we took the one less traveled, and that made all the difference. And we were on a hike for 2 hours.
So we have Robert Frost to thank. Is that correct?
That's correct. And when we got back to the car, and Jeff and I were sort of chatting about what we had left to do for the rest of the day, and I realized that I was a bit angry.
You were hangry.
I was hangry.
Yeah.
I was angry for no reason, not
came
realizing
out of nowhere,
that.
To be honest,
because I'm not an angry person.
At one moment, you were super happy and jovial, and you're like, "Oh, I love this nature
and the fall and the crisp air and the colors."
And then we get into the car, and it's like,
I know.
Well, let's get you some food.
And I realized at my ripe age, I'm now in my 40s, and only realize now that I guess my mood is very strongly tied to blood sugars.
Oh, well, yeah.
And I probably have had that happen before and just not realized the cause, but I realized, I guess, that, that was one of the things that I need to make me happy is sustenance. And so anyways, that's number one.
It keeps us alive, too.
Is food. Maybe that's not a secret, but definitely
food.
Pay attention to how food makes you feel.
But you notice how much happier you are when you're eating food and you're hungry when you eat it, really hungry, and you savor every little bite of that food.
Well, yeah, it tastes better.
Unless you're inhale
past,
it.
Yeah, if you're past the point of no return where you're just literally just trying to get something into the hole.
But you're right. Good food and just eating in general makes us happy.
So number one is to eat, but pay attention to what you eat and how it makes you feel. Dark chocolate is one of those proven sources of happiness.
Yeah, you are a dark chocolate junkie. Not that you eat a lot of it, but you always have to have some in that.
And it needs to be, they usually say around at least 70% to get that tryptophan effect, which is
really
basically that leads into, it's like a precursor for the
a nap,
for serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that makes you happier.
Oh, okay.
For a nap. Funny thing around chocolate is, in researching this episode, I got really caught up in the difference between cacao.
Oh yeah, you should play the
cocoa
recording.
And cacao. Well, I don't have it ready,
I know, but
and I'm not going to make our listeners wait. But I googled it and I thought, there's a difference between these two, and I should know it because we went to we went in Nicaragua. We went to this whole thing about how they make chocolate, and I should have remembered the difference. But
I remember that.
But essentially, cacao is the actual pod and beans that grow, so in the purest form from the chocolate tree. And then once they've sort of been roasted and processed a bit, then it becomes cocoa, which is what we would use in more commonly in chocolate bars or in hot cocoa.
Yeah.
But I got all caught up in the pronunciation of cacao.
I know you did. Cacao.
And I came across this website
Cacao.
that deliberately, it's on YouTube, that mispronounces words.
What is the name of that website? Do you know, or is it?
See,
okay. I'm sorry. You usually prepared with this stuff. That's why I asked.
Oh, I'm usually prepared.
Well, you are. You usually got it right there. But anyways, it's really funny because what they do is they just for example, how to pronounce Donald Trump, and then they just have this gobbledygook.
Turd dump.
It's really funny, actually.
Yeah, really funny. So you'll just have to Google it and just hope you find it at random.
Funny audio pronunciations. Just Google that or something.
Oh my. This stuff makes me laugh.
I know. See, it makes you happy.
Well, it makes me happy. And you know what? I've been accused before. I've had people say, why are you always so happy? Or, why do you smile? So almost like an accusation. And
you notice when people don't smile, though. Like, I don't mean you. I mean, people notice when other people don't regularly smile.
Well, and they also notice when you smile a lot. And
Yeah.
I've had multiple times in my life when it's almost like an accusation. But that's my default. My default is to be happy and to smile. And, I hope people smile back and that makes their day a little bit brighter.
Yeah, a smile goes a long way.
So my next tip around being happy is to smile. Even when you're not happy, smiling, or even they say fake laughing. If you get yourself fake laughing,
Fake
eventually
it until you make it.
Yeah, you'll turn into a real laugh.
Kind of thing.
Or, watch a comedy. Watch some funny YouTube videos if you're feeling down.
Well, it's disarming, right?
Once you get yourself laughing, even though if you go into it, maybe in a very down, grumpy mood, it'll...
See, I got you to
around.
watch that video on YouTube of the guy mispronouncing the song titles because we did a podcast on it a while back.
That's right. If you want to check out misheard song lyrics, that's one of our more popular podcast episodes. So scroll on back for that one.
But you didn't even watch the whole video.
I know. It's because I have a low attention span.
Yeah, but you'll watch comedians on TV for like 2 hours.
Well,
that's just a
know.
short clip.
I think it has
You're
something to do
getting
with
a good
YouTube.
deal with like a short clip of comedy.
I'm at like TikTok level for...
Wow.
When I'm holding that's why TikTok is 30 seconds. It's like that's people's attention span.
It's 30 seconds?
I think most of them are 30 seconds.
There used to be another one that was even shorter.
Maybe they're shorter. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Vines, maybe?
Yeah, Vines. That's it. Exactly. Wow, you remembered.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot.
What else
Story
makes you
of our
happy?
lives.
Exercise makes you happy. I think we kind of all know that one.
Exercise?
It doesn't mean we all want to go and do it.
We actually talked about. I might organize another podcast. I only did one other one, but on running, and I think that would be fun.
Yeah, we're on episode 81, and Jeff has researched how many podcasts? One so far.
I just like showing up, man, and being somewhat comedy.
Mixing down the track when we're all done recording.
That's really laborious.
I know, it takes all of about 3 minutes.
It does. Actually.
Because we do zero editing.
It's because I've streamlined it. You know what?
Well, yes, it's purely efficiency
If we have time at the end of this podcast, I'm going to add in, we're going to do that recording. Cacao. Whatever the thing is.
We still have to re-record our outro where we don't say Instagram. Grr.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Instagram burned us.
We'll get that down to another day.
Thanks a lot, Instagram.
Another reason, a way to be happy is don't dwell on lost social media accounts.
More like Instascram.
It's just, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well done.
Thanks.
Love it. Yes, exercise makes us happy, of course, but you don't necessarily have to go full on with strenuous exercise to get a benefit. Even going out for a walk
or doing
can
two
have
crunches.
Huge benefits. And getting outside a little bit more than that. Getting outside in nature definitely has a lot of benefits. And one of the things I invested in last winter was a daylight lamp.
Yes.
So,
at my insistence.
Yes.
I was saying, hey, check this thing out.
Daylight lamp, buy it.
Yeah.
And I did. And you know what? It's been a huge factor in improving my energy levels, particularly during the winter months.
Seasonal affective disorder.
Exactly, just improving my overall happiness. I don't think you even have to have seasonal affective disorder to sort of get a little bit, down in the dumps or feel a little bit more tired. Particularly now we're
absolutely not.
We're recording this in October, and the days are starting to get shorter here in Canada. A lot less daylight.
Why do they call it disorder, though? It's not really a disorder. You just need light. It's not, you know what I mean?
Well, they call everything disorder.
I know. Why? I don't understand
Because
that.
it's not in order.
Okay. It's
not what
disarray.
the doctor ordered. I don't know.
Disorder. Okay, no, I'm just curious.
Just a couple things around a daylight lamp, though. And I think anybody who's listened to a few episodes of this podcast knows that I love my research. And
you do.
Not all of these natural daylight lamps are created equal. So it's good to do your research.
You researched for a good week.
Well, I did. They're expensive, and I wanted to make sure it was money well spent, and it was. And what I did is I looked at some studies that looked into the benefits of this, and I looked at what the researchers use for lamps. And there were certain things that it needed to have, 10,000 lux at 12-inch distance. It needs to hit your eyes from an angle above your eyes.
Right.
It can't be sitting down on your desk and just existing on your desk as a lamp. It should be above your eyes to hit at the right angle to be effective. It's best done in the morning. In fact, they say not to do it too late in the evening because it can interrupt your sleep cycle. And you only really need to do it for 20 to 30 minutes in the morning. Now, that may seem like a huge commitment, but if you have a morning routine where even if you're checking your social media and you just sit in front of your lamp and check your social media while you're doing that, or read a book.
You like to write in your journal.
I like to do journaling in front of it. 20 minutes goes by really fast. And again, during the months where you're maybe not getting as much daylight, it can make a huge difference. So I really love the lamp. It was probably one of the better, sometimes you buy things like that and they're gimmicky and you have buyer's remorse, but no, I love this lamp.
You do
and
love
I highly
it. And
recommend
you do
it.
regularly use it as well.
I do regularly use it.
Yeah.
Other ways to be happy.
Yeah.
Make sure you get enough sleep. A benefit of
That's
those
so
lamps,
important for me.
it does help you get onto a good sleep cycle because it wakes you up really well in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. If you're sleepy, you're grumpy.
I've always been this way. Like if I don't get enough sleep, I'm pretty much a zombie. Like I can't think properly, and I am grumpy. I know I am. I'm grumpy if I don't get enough sleep, but it's kind of rare because I'm on a pretty good schedule. Like working the overnight shift and stuff, and then Hux goes to school and you go to work, and I'm able to sleep. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me happy actually.
Sleeping.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love sleeping too.
I love it.
It's weird as kids, it's all about, I don't want to go to bed. They want to stay up as late as they can.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to have naps. And then when we're adults, it's like, just if somebody came and tucked me in and said, just go to sleep and don't do anything, I'd be like, yes, let's do that.
Reading a good book makes me happy too. I hope I didn't ruin your list.
It's not a numbered list, I learned.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
One thing that makes me happy is an unnumbered list.
I love reading a good book, And you know what I've learned too is I've learned that it's okay to give up on a book. It really is. You don't have to read the whole book just because you started it. I mean, how many times have you started a movie and like, nope,
You're right. There is a sort of a feeling of obligation when you start a book that you have to finish it. And I think as we get older and our time is running shorter, that we don't want to waste time, even if you've already wasted a couple of hours on a book. I would
go as far as to say that only probably about 5 or 10% of the books that I attempt to read I don't finish. But
it would be very rare for me not to finish one either.
Yeah,
because I have a better sense of commitment than you do.
You do your research though and find out good books.
Okay, that too.
Yeah. And you're committed.
And I'm committed. Give a compliment. That's a great way to make yourself happier. Is to spread the love and be make somebody else's day a little bit better by giving them a genuine, heartfelt compliment, not something that, you're just doing for the sake of doing. One easy way to share a compliment when you've heard. One thing that I've kind of learned later in life is when you hear somebody saying something great or something nice about somebody else in their absence, spread that back to them.
That's a really good point.
Let them know, because
That's
sometimes
really
there's some wonderful things that are said about people in their absence, and they never really benefit to hear all the wonderful
that's the
things.
Lift that someone needs that day.
Talk great behind people's backs.
Yeah, talk great behind people's backs.
It's like
talk great again.
Talk great again.
Oh God. Anyways, what's the next one?
I was trying to think of the opposite. Don't stab them in the back, but love them in the back.
Love them in the back.
That sounded obscene. Don't.
What's the
if
next
Apple
one
Podcasts is scanning our content, just ignore that line. Yes. Okay.
Love them in the back.
Cross something off your to-do list. One way I love to feel happy is to feel like I've accomplished something, and that can be as simple as if I've got something that's sort of nagging me, like maybe it's it could be anything. Maybe you have a little area of your house you wanted to tidy up, or somebody you needed to touch base with on something. Just, cross something off the to-do list.
I do the flip side of that as well as something that makes me happy, and it's literally doing nothing. Doing nothing is a really good thing. What?
You need to do an episode on the art of of doing nothing.
The art of doing nothing. Yeah.
This brings me back to a conversation we had on meditation.
Oh,
so Jeff and I were talking about meditation. That's actually one of the items I
yes.
had on here for happiness, because definitely if you, if you're into it, explore meditation. There's all different methods, just the way people learn differently. They meditate differently too. So some people are, for instance, a visual learner. So they may want to meditate by looking, watching a candle.
Are you a visual learner, or are you like?
A bit.
You have a photographic memory, so.
Yes,
helps.
probably more, but yes. And some people feel better, like if they're listening to a directed meditation. Some people just want to, try the silence.
Yeah.
So I guess my point is, if you try one form of meditation, it doesn't work for you, don't give up on it. Try other forms. But the funny conversation Jeff and I had around this was that you said you didn't even really believe in meditation. And you said, I don't understand how people have to clear their mind. My mind is always clear. Do you remember saying that?
It's kind of true. Like, I don't have a very cluttered
I'm trying
mind.
not to laugh directly into my mic because I have such a loud laugh.
Why? What's so weird about that? It's true.
I don't know.
Some people have to
I literally have like a dozen things going through my head at any given time.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea that I could just purposely walk around with a clear head without going down and trying to meditate and do it.
Meditate to get rid of those
Maybe
thoughts.
I'm laughing out of envy because I think that's an awesome thing to have. But just the way you said it was just...
Is it pompous of me to say it that way?
No,
or is it...
no, I don't know. It just seems like a funny thing to me.
Oh, yeah.
We'll let our listeners decide what they think
I don't
of
know
it.
what it is, but I don't really have a hard time clearing my mind of thoughts. I know a lot of people work at that and stuff, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe I did the work a long time ago, and now I can do it easily. I don't know. It's like an equation, like a combination lock,
Well, that's what I say. We're all trying to evolve to Jeff level.
I guess, I don't know.
I'm trying to set my drink down like super quietly, and
on
even
a piece
when
of paper.
I know I folded up a piece of paper to buffer it against a stupid glass table that
Well, you just gave yourself away now.
I know.
Well, you might as well tell everybody what you're drinking.
Wine, red wine.
What kind of wine though? What is it?
Red.
But what is red? Oh, what color is it? All right. Anyway, let's go to the next thing. Okay, so we covered meditation. Man, I'm not thinking about anything right now.
Oh my goodness. See, this is how you get happy. Starts with some laughing.
Hopefully you can listen to the InfoQuench podcasts, all of 80 of them. There's 80 of them now, people. 80.
This is number 81. Just listen to this
81.
one and have a laugh with us.
So, yeah, I mean, listen to us and get happy.
There's
get
so
happy
many
in your
topics
back.
we've covered too. Get happy in your back. Party or business in the front, party in the back.
Yeah, it looks like we have a name for this podcast now.
That's searchable.
We were kicking around ideas for naming this podcast. Anyway, go ahead.
But in all seriousness, if we have so many different topics with a huge catalog of episodes now, so scroll back through because there's such a variety, whether you're looking for something on parenting, travel, minimalism, or mispronounced song lyrics, or whatever. I'm sure you'll find something you're interested in.
I particularly
and they're all like
enjoyed our
30
last one.
minutes. They're like very digestible episodes.
Traveling
at 30
without
minutes.
going anywhere. That was a good one.
Yes.
One of my favorites. Actually, what are some of your favorites? Just not too great of an aside, but like, what are some of your favorite podcasts that we did?
This one that we're doing right now.
Okay, good. Carry on.
Another way to be happy is to connect with family, connect with friends, reach out. It can also make somebody else's day. So whether it's, a phone call or a visit, if it's, COVID friendly.
Yeah, it's got to be COVID friendly.
Companionship's important.
Yeah, it is.
Some people have, get happiness from being around their animals, or if you love animals but aren't able to own a pet, you can volunteer at a shelter and get companionship that way. So lots of ways to connect. And
how do you feel about cats? You love cats, or do you just kind of like
I feel like you brought this up in multiple episodes.
I know. He
Why do
doesn't
you
like
want-
cats.
Look, just as you say that, our cat walks by. There goes
hi,
Charlie. Yeah, it's like he knew.
Oh, it's you again.
I'm more of a dog person,
You
but
are more
also
of a
we have
dog
an
person.
awesome cat.
Well, we had that cat when we met. I had that cat when we met, and he's still around. He's like an albatross around your neck.
I love him.
I know you do.
Next Next item.
love him very much.
I wanted to talk about pampering yourself because I think that's important for happiness. Whether it's having a glass of red wine
Or buying records.
in a very fancy wine glass, buying records, or buying a weighted blanket.
Well, why don't we talk about those glass beads?
Let's talk about this blanket. I bought a weighted blanket this weekend, and I'm not a shopper.
We're not shoppers. We may sound like shoppers.
We do sound like shoppers,
But we're not.
But I've been wanting one since I heard they existed, which has probably been a really long time. But I remember probably at least a year or two I've been wanting the weighted blanket, but they're ridiculously expensive. And I got one for 70% off.
70% off.
And it is luxurious.
You love it.
And you put it on, and it's like a
6
hug.
or 7 pounds?
It's 15 pounds
15
of blanket
pounds.
goodness. And it's filled with little tiny glass beads that if you work the material enough, sometimes you can get them to pass through the material and you can hold one of those little glass beads.
I take it you have
I've done this, and they're
this-
super...
Yeah.
Hux was a little afraid of the blanket at first when I told him it was full of glass.
Until he realized he could lift the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we both get under it. He
Like
gets
a-
at one end of the couch, and
like
I
a
get at
little
the
kid
other
Superman.
at the other end. But yes, the weighted blanket's supposed to be good for stress and anxiety, but it is just super comfy to have on and super warm. But pamper yourself. Every once in a while, it's okay to indulge and get those things that maybe aren't completely practical, or maybe it's just doing something like taking a nice bubble bath.
Sometimes it's good to get the things that are practical.
yeah.
Like, things that you really need.
Well, but I'm talking about happiness.
Yeah, I know, but those are the kind of things that make you happy. To have practical things in your life.
Well, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
To have practical, stylish things. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a stylish weighted blanket.
And stylish shoes or like work pants or stuff like that,
Stylish work pants.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. If you want to get some nice work pants, you indulge.
Do it.
You know what? When you are feeling happy, think about what made you happy, so you can recreate that. Think
Yeah.
of what triggered that. What triggered that laugh? If you had a really great day, reflect on what you did that day.
Recently, I just started making art again, and it's been really fun.
Yes.
I have I call it my
Oh no, we're going to get censored.
I call it my art hole downstairs in the basement.
Instead of a man cave, it's an art.
It's an art hole. Anyway,
Oh my goodness.
it's all
We
set
have
up
a-
with a bunch of tables.
We live in a heritage home, so our basement is not very finished. It's quite realistically cave-like.
It
So
is
it is very
very
much like a
cave-like.
hole
Yeah.
in which Jeff makes art.
Yeah, I do some paintings and stuff, and maybe we'll put them up on our Instagram.
Mike, I think that I've
Or
laughed
Facebook.
more than this episode than in the happiness episode than any other episode. I
Well-
hope I didn't laugh so loud that the listeners are
Yes,
keep
but-
having to turn down the volume.
Yes, but how fitting is that we're laughing so hard?
Oh, it was
during
completely
that
planned, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
I've saved up all of my laughter for
You
this
saved-
one
Hi,
episode.
Charlie. Yeah.
All right. Give back. Another way to feel happy is to give back. Give back to your community, maybe through volunteer work. Maybe it's making a donation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just reaching out and comforting somebody who is having a rough time. All of those things, when we give to other people, can increase our own happiness.
It's very important to give back. I think we as human beings do that more than we really think about without even really thinking
Some
about
of us do.
Well, yeah, I guess. Like you said earlier, with a smile. Sometimes that's the way people give back.
That's
by
right.
smiling.
Maybe it's
It's so simple, right?
a good
But
morning, saying you're passing, the same person every day on your walk to
sometimes
work.
it's giving $20 to somebody you think that really needs it.
That's right.
When you found that $20. Go back to one of our other podcasts. I can't remember which one it was, but we talked about that
That's true.
at some point.
That's true.
Actually, let's have a little contest. If you can tell us what podcast that was, maybe you
are
can get
better
our
podcasters
Instagram
than
back.
we are. That's right. Pay it forward. Give back. And
Yeah.
one of the things that is consistent, I think, I've read a lot of studies, a lot of books, watched a lot of documentaries around the idea of happiness, the happiest countries in the world or happiest communities.
Yeah.
And community is the key factor. It's the underlying factor time and time again. People who have a sense of community are the happiest people, regardless of, socioeconomic status. If people have the basic necessities of life, of course, then community becomes the most important piece.
One of the easiest things to do within your community is to support local businesses. I mean, that's one way of giving back.
Oh, good little segue, honey.
Yeah. Who are we going to plug now?
Support local.
Support local.
We're plugging everybody local.
Hey,
and wherever you're listening from, that's different for you, but support your local businesses because particularly during a pandemic, the situation we're going through, they need your help. So
if you're in St. John, go check out Backstreet Records if you want some music. They got tapes, records. They got everything.
Always with the
records. They got CDs even. I know.
Yeah, no, a great local establishment for sure. Just celebrated 40 years.
Yep, Gordy Tufts. 40 years.
All righty. Let's talk about other things that make us happy.
Okay. Well, what?
Well, music makes you happy.
Oh my goodness, music! It's essential. I know I said this before. I think on a previous podcast, we've done 80 of them, so I can't remember all of our conversations. But I mean, somebody who doesn't like music, I do not understand that. They don't like music. Period. Like I just don't get that because music is in the fiber of our being.
It is.
It's our heartbeat.
What was that?
I did that. I clicked something on the desk.
Was that your heartbeat?
By accident. Yeah, it was pretty good timing. But yeah, really though.
You're right. On Dirty Dancing, Patrick Swayze does that. Bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
He talks about how it's the heartbeat.
Yeah.
I think it's the merengue that's the heartbeat. Maybe.
I know you love that movie. And we've watched that. I think that's the movie we watched the most together. I've watched it twice with you, I think.
That's the most we've ever watched a movie was twice.
Never again, baby. No one puts baby in the corner.
As we're coming to the end of we have a few minutes left. I wanted to talk a little bit about the New York Times did a little article around conquering negative thinking. And a lot of times we kind of get stuck in negative thoughts, and that can really hinder our happiness. So, one of the tips that they give is, treat yourself like a friend. So if you're feeling negative about yourself and you get that negative self-talk going in a loop, think about the advice you'd give to a friend and listen to it for yourself, right? You wouldn't beat your friend up. Well, maybe you would beat your friend up. Then you're not a good friend, and you're probably not even listening to the podcast. So
only a good friend you would beat up. I mean,
our listeners are good people, and and would support their friends. So support yourself in the same way. And
I bet you there's some jerk listeners too, though. If you're a jerk listener, I hope you're enjoying the show too.
But be aware of the self-talk, and then start to challenge why you're thinking that way, and then you can sort of redirect things, change things around. So maybe it might be helpful even to write it down. You might be saying, I'm stressed at work, or I'm having trouble in my relationship. Yeah. Write it down. Then ask yourself,
how can you rearrange that?
What's the evidence for this way of thinking?
Yeah.
Like why do I feel that way? And are you basing that on facts or feelings? Because feelings aren't facts.
No, they're not.
Feelings aren't facts.
The only fact is that we have feelings.
Quote. And if they are facts, maybe you could be misinterpreting the situation. A lot of times our emotions get the best of us. And maybe think about how other people might be viewing the situation. A lot of times, I forget who said this one, but we wouldn't care so much what people thought about us if we realized how rarely they do. Oscar Wilde, I believe it is.
You just said it, though.
I could be wrong. Fact check me on Oscar Wilde.
I can't fact check.
But we really, people really think about us far less than we think they do. So, think about how other people might view the situation differently. They're probably not looking at it the same way you are.
Yeah.
And how might you view it if it happened to somebody else? You would give them the benefit of the doubt. So give yourself the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly.
So I guess sort of the takeaway from that is that this type of negative thinking, it happens to all of us. But if we can recognize it and challenge it, it's a big step towards moving away from it and being happier.
Yeah.
We don't want to all be Eeyores. We can be Tiggers.
That's exactly it. You have to get yourself out of that hole of desperation if you feel like you're there.
Unless it's the art hole.
And if you're there, create a masterpiece, baby. Create a masterpiece.
Well, that's all I have to say about being happy. I hope this episode made you happier.
Yeah,
I
we
hope
hope.
you laughed a little bit along the way. I know I did.
Yeah, I did too. I thought that was a very happy
It was very cathartic.
podcast. So thanks for listening, everybody. And, smile.
Smile, spread the joy. And you know what? If you are not happy and you're having a hard time getting out of it, reach out for help.
Yes.
Because if it's an ongoing thing, it could be a sign of a more serious thing. You'd be going through, depression. You may need, help from a doctor or, so reach out to someone you loved or care about.
There's a lot of help out there.
If you feel that they're not, if they're going through a difficult time. So,
Yeah.
I just want to end with that keep an eye on the ones you love.
Okay.
All right.
See you, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening.
And remember, you can catch up on past episodes at infoquench.com.
Or just about anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
And help spread the word about InfoQuench.
Till next time.